In ancient times, when the Arabian Peninsula was a stage for great events, two Arab tribes, Tasm and Jadis, lived side by side. These two tribes were related by blood, both descending from the lineage of Prophet Noah, peace be upon him. Tasm resided in an area known today as Manfuha in Riyadh, while Jadis lived in what is now the Al-Kaj province, also near Riyadh. Life between the two tribes was relatively peaceful until a king from Tasm named Amliq rose to power. Amliq was a tyrant who knew nothing of justice or mercy. His rule was marked by cruelty and oppression, and he severely wronged the people of Jadis, sowing seeds of hatred and resentment between the two tribes. The incident that sparked the conflict. One day, a man from Jadis and his ex-wife disagreed over the custody of their child after their divorce. They turned to Amliq to settle the dispute. The woman, named Hazila, argued that she was the child's mother and had endured the hardships of pregnancy and raising the child. The man, however, claimed his right as the father who provided for the family. Instead of ruling justly, Amliq took the child for himself, forcing him to serve in his palace without regard for the feelings of either parent. This unjust ruling angered Hazila, who composed verses of poetry condemning Amliq and exposing his tyranny. When these verses reached Amliq, he flew into a rage and issued a new, even more oppressive decree. Any woman from Jadis who married would not be allowed to be with her husband until Amliq had taken her first. This decree was a shocking blow to Jadis, as it crossed all boundaries of decency and honor. However, they had no choice but to accept it, as Tasm was far stronger militarily and Jadis could not confront them. The revolt and revenge years passed, and Jadis continued to suffer under Amliq's oppression until the day came when their leader, Al-Aswad bin Ghifar, decided to put an end to this injustice. He gathered his men and devised a cunning plan to kill Amliq. He invited Amliq and his men to a feast, and when they were engrossed in eating and drinking, Al-Aswad gave the signal, and his men drew their hidden swords, killing Amliq and his guards in a single moment. This was a great victory for Jadis, but it was not the end of the tragedy. One of Tasm's men, named Riyah bin Murrah, managed to escape the massacre and fled to the Tuba of Yemen, the king of Yemen seeking revenge. Zarqa al-Yamamah and the fall of Jadis among the people of Jadis was a woman named Zarqa al-Yamamah who possessed extraordinary vision, allowing her to see things from great distances. When the army of the Tuba of Yemen approached Jadis, Zarqa saw the soldiers advancing, disguised as trees. She urgently warned her people, but they mocked her and dismissed her warnings, believing she had lost her mind or her sight. When the Tuba's army arrived, they launched a devastating attack on Jadis, slaughtering the tribe and burning their village to the ground. Zarqa al-Yamamah was captured, and her eyes, which had once seen so far, were gouged out. The once proud tribe of Jadis was completely wiped out. The moral of the story. The story of Tasm and Jadis carries several important lessons. Oppression breeds hatred. Amliq's tyranny was the root cause of the conflict, showing that injustice only leads to destruction. The importance of wisdom and strategy. Al-Aswad bin Ghifar used cunning and planning to achieve victory, highlighting the value of strategic thinking. Heeding warnings. Had the people of Jadis listened to Zarqa al-Yamamah, they might have avoided their tragic fate. The consequences of arrogance. Amliq's arrogance and cruelty ultimately led to his downfall. This historical tale reminds us that justice and wisdom are the foundations of stable societies, while oppression and cruelty lead only to ruin. Let us learn from it and strive to build communities based on fairness and compassion.